What's going on, everybody? Dylan Napoleone with Cage Side Press, joined today by a professional fighter boasting a record of 7 wins, 2 losses. He's set to compete for this Cage Titans Featherweight title on January 25th. The Phenom, Tom Pagliarulo. Tom, how you been, man? How's training?
I'm good, man. Training's great. Happy to be here. Happy to be back on the show. Appreciate you always giving me some time to talk. And yeah, man, January 25th. Can't wait.
Hell yeah, man. So obviously, like we talked about a minute ago, you fought back in May. You got the first round knockout.
Mhm.
The second half of the year, I know you got married just a few months ago, so congratulations. But
Thank
was
you.
that from May to basically now? Was that just a lot of training, a lot of preparation for getting married and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's not like I wasn't training or nothing that whole time. Like you can ask the coach and stuff. Even when I don't
Hmm.
have a fight booked, I'm like one of those guys who's just in the gym. They tell me like to go home. They're
Yeah,
like you're overtraining, you're overdoing it. So like I said, a lot of it was like toning down the intensity, just to let my body kind of recover too, man. Like I got some mileage on me. Like
yeah,
I said, I've been wrestling like my whole life and stuff. So like my body's just it's been a little beat up at points. So kind of
yeah.
just really spent the summer like toning down the intensity with my MMA training and really focusing on putting on some size and then feeling great now, man. Like the body feels fresh. I feel great in the training room. My cardio is like even better than where it was. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just been really just like dialing in on some skills I really wanted to focus on too. And I'm really happy with my progress. I think from like a year ago to now, I'm like a whole different fighter.
That's good, man. So you consider the time off well spent. Um, Good thing for you. I know you were staying pretty active before that. I mean, you took that fight kind of out of nowhere, the one before this one. It's probably
Yeah.
good to let the body relax for a little bit, man. And I know the role you play in your team, so I could only assume you were there in the gym with them all that time, and I know you're a very important guy to the team over there.
Yeah, man, they keep me in the gym, keep me working hard. I'm always trying to help everyone's camp out, and that's kind of been one of the big things for me is kind of like, all right, time to really lock in on me. You know what I mean? Like I love helping everyone, being a team player, but like now I'm making more choices, like being a little more like selfish in a way, in a
Yeah,
good way. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I'm still there for everyone's camps, but now it's like I'm gonna lock in on me, go grow where I need to grow, and I think that's one of the big changes I've made, and just like a maturity thing, as I've
Yeah.
gone through this whole fighting thing, and yeah, man, I'm excited for the future right now for sure.
I saw the post on your story just a little while ago. You're throwing some love to your teammates for being there for you and stuff like that. I know today was sparring. I'm sure it was a day you guys were able to, find a little bit extra appreciation for each other, seeing how hard you guys can go and stuff like that. What was today like in the gym for you guys?
Yeah, man, Saturday's a sparring day. Awesome, man. Like my sparring rounds have been great. They're giving me great looks. Like everyone's really trying to bring it, push a pace on me. But I'm just finding my triggers that we've been building for this camp, and it's like I'm not being the nicest in the gym right now. I can't be, especially on sparring day. Like I'm Chris Matino probably wants to kill me every time I hit him. I apologize. I feel like I hit him too hard. I'm like, sorry, he's like, don't worry about me. But I'm
Hmm.
always one of those guys. I'm too nice sometimes at the gym. In the fight, I'm as mean as can be. But sometimes at the gym, I'm too nice and worried about my training partners. But not this camp, man. I'm letting it rip. And these guys are just like putting it on the line for me. I appreciate it. They're kind of giving me certain looks too that I need to see for this fight. And like maybe some of them that's not like natural for them. So it's I appreciate those guys, man. They're really really pulling through for me this camp.
Yeah, man, that's very important. I know those guys, or you guys are all great to each other. You just mentioned it though, and it triggered something within. I wanted to talk about Chris for a minute, man. He's coming off that huge victory at Cage Titans of his own. How's he doing after that big performance and that big victory?
He's awesome, man. I was so excited for him for that one. That was like you just got to see a new, fresh developed Chris Matino, like go in there, very patient, walk
Yeah,
that kid down, but didn't like get overzealous with anything, and just broke him.
yeah.
Chris he's just a blast to watch, man, and having him in the gym. He's right back in the gym. He's been at every sparring session. Like he's there for me now in camp. Like he's like one of the best training partners you could ask for.
Yeah.
I think having him around the past few years, like for me personally, has just been big for me because he's been one of those guys like before I even started fighting, like I would just go on YouTube and watch like New England MMA guys, and like he was
Hmm.
one of the dudes I'd watch as like an amateur and watch him
Yeah.
grow. Like, man, this kid's awesome. So now having him in the gym with me, it's like he's just humble. He's super honest. Like the amount of belief that kid has in me, like really motivates me. Like he every day is just telling me like how far he thinks I can go and like how
Yeah.
confident he is, especially this fight, like how confident he is in me for this. Like it's nice to have that. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you got to buy into that a little bit, and it reminds you how good you are, and then you can show it in the fight, you know. So yeah, man, he's awesome to have in the gym.
Great dude himself too. A lot. I made a post a couple weeks ago of his fifth consecutive win after departing from the UFC, and the fans completely jumped on his back, man. They were all over it, pleading in the comments, saying why he deserves his next shot, and talking about, he's been through it, and now he made his way back. He deserves that chance again. What do you think? How is this developing process? I mean, second kind of developing process going for him? I think he's right there knocking on the door. What do you say?
100%. He's ready, man. He's done it the right way. You know, he got so busy this year. I think like you said, he's won 5 fights since he's got out of the UFC. That's what they want. They want
Yeah.
to just see you go fight. You know what I mean? They
And
don't
he's
want you like
finishing
take a
guys
fight or
too.
two. Exactly. It's like they don't
Yeah.
want to see you go take a fight, win, and then go, okay, I want back in. It's like no, he hasn't asked for anything. He has not called certain opponents out. He's just get me fights, get me
Yeah.
fighting, and he's smoking these dudes 5 in a row now. So. He's there, man. I know they know he's there. You know, I kind of get to hear some of like the
Yeah.
chatter and stuff. He's there. It's
They know
coming.
he's there.
He's just gotta wait for the right moment, you know, and they'll call him. And I know he's gonna get in there. I know he can win fights in the UFC. I
100%.
know he can, man. Like he if he can fight like he did that last fight and just like that maturity we're seeing
Yeah.
now and bring that to the UFC, he's a problem for anyone. He's a tough fight for anyone.
Yeah.
I'm excited, man. We'll see him back in there.
I think what he's done since his departure is impressive. Not only his fighting alone, but he's changed as a fighter. He's grown to those levels that he needed to grow to and stuff like that. I can't wait to see him back. But Tom, we got to talk about you too, man. Big fight, January 25th. Don Shainis, like we said, title fight, man. Don is a familiar guy out here in New England, a familiar guy to you. I know you've been in the training room with him plenty of times before, man. Talk to me about this fight. How are you feeling? And maybe was this a fight that you had kind of thought about being inevitable for you?
Yeah, man. I love it. I love the fight. Like you said, he's kind of been around for forever. You know, I think
Yeah.
he's been a pro longer than I've even been fighting. You know, so
Yeah.
it's cool to see. To kind of get on the same level as these guys. You know, like you said, I have been in the room with him. Not a ton. I think
No?
last time I remember being in the room with him was just once, and I think 2 amateur fights or something. I was
Oh,
over at
wow.
Kenny Florian's gym, and I had just stopped in there to I think it was his teammate Kin Moy was getting ready for like a wrestler, and he asked if I could come in and just give him like a wrestling look because that's
Oh,
really all
wow.
it was at the time. And Don happened to be there. That was like the one time I think I trained with him. But you know, like I said, he was already like pretty into his pro career then, and I'm
Hmm.
still an amateur, and now I'm looking at it like now you're fighting me. You know,
Yeah.
and there's a reason I've caught up to these guys, you know, and it's like it's only been like 5, 6 years, you know, but it's like that's how confident I am in my growth. You have to fight me now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've
Yeah.
caught up my skills there and that's where I'm headed, you know. So I'm confident in it, man. I wouldn't say you asked if it was a fight I was like looking forward to or inevitable or something like that, but I don't really like pick fights. You know,
Hmm.
I'm not like that. Like I watch like regional fights a lot just because I like the sport. I like
Yeah.
seeing guys compete. But it wasn't something I was like, hey, let's get this fight. You know, it
Hmm.
was I walked into the gym and Tyson looked at me and said, hey, Don Shainis, the 25th of January for a belt. I said, okay. That's just
Yeah.
what I do, man. Like Tyson, I would never ask for opponents. He just calls me and says, hey, we got this guy. You want to fight? That's how May happened. I was
Yeah.
literally got back from Hawaii like that week, driving home from training from Jake's, and he called me on the car and said, "You want to fight Saturday night?" This was on Wednesday. I
Yeah.
said, "Sure." I didn't even ask who. I just said, "Okay, like
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
do it."
Yeah.
That's just how I am, man. Like I'm confident in how I train and to just take these fights. A lot of my fights in my career have just been on like a couple days notice, couple weeks notice.
Yeah.
Like I'm just confident in my ability and the work I put in, and I think that's what makes me dangerous, man. Like I'm not afraid of losing or results. I like to go in there and compete. That's why I do this.
Test
I
yourself.
fucking love competing, man. Like I
Yeah.
love it so much, and um, that's what excites me about this. I know I got a real competitor in front of me, and I'm excited to go in there and butt heads with him.
Yeah, man. When I say inevitable, I mean like as he was coming up, you were kind of closing that gap between you guys in terms of pro, amateur, stuff like that. You never thought maybe one day that you would fight him?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you fight anyone. You know, it's like in New
True.
England, it's like we can all run into each other. But yeah, I guess, you know, but I think if you looked at it, like I said, like where he was and where
Yeah,
I
no,
was, and
you're
like,
right.
he was so far ahead. It's like,
Yeah.
man, you know, like I caught up. I'm
Yeah,
here now, you know.
100%.
So so
What
now we're
does
gonna
that
do it.
feeling feel like for you? I mean, that's got to be pretty special knowing that a few years ago you kind of just set out on this journey. This guy was already kind of established. Now here you are established, coming for what he's done, you know what I mean? And trying to build yourself up to that next level. What does that feel like for you?
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's a testament to the work I put in. You know, I don't think I'm not like this special, like doing something special. It's like I'm just putting my head down and working it and trusting the process and doing it the right way. I'm not just showing up to show up. You know, I don't just
Right.
show up and I'm gonna work hard and go home. It's like, no, I'm like obsessed, man. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I show up, I pick my coach's brains on everything. I'm watching film. I love this stuff, man. So I think it's the right work. It's not the quantity of the work too. But you know, I try not to. I'm not like hyping myself up too much, you know, like he's gonna have that mentality. Oh, it's the young gun. I'm gonna show him I'm still here. Like I know
Mhm.
that's probably where he's at, and all the power to him. I hope he does feel that way. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, why are we doing this thing if we don't want to prove someone wrong? So, but like I said, man, like. I caught up. I'm here, and it's just a testament to my journey that I've taken. I've taken some hard fights that have matured me for this and gotten me ready. And I've been in the gym with hard fights every day. You know what
That's
I mean?
right, man.
I have
Literally,
a lot
yeah.
of killers around me. So, like I said, just shout out to me this time around for the work I've put on. I'm always like, I think that's a big growth I've made. I've never given myself credit. You know, I just
Hmm.
kind of, shout out to me on this one. I put my head down, worked hard, and earned this fight. So I'm gonna go get it done.
That's what it's about, man. That's what I like to hear. Good for you, Tom. You have worked yourself up to this point. And for a lot of New England fighters, fighting in Plymouth Memorial Hall has kind of like a special aura. It's a special moment. Do you feel any of that or not really?
I've never fought there, so shit, we're gonna find out.
Yeah,
I know that's like his home turf and shit, but man, I'm one of those guys. Like I said, I fought. I made my pro debut in Philadelphia. I fought for CES. I just fight around. I fight where I can fight. You know,
yeah,
obviously most of my fights have been with Combat Zone because it's just been easy to get fights with them. But yeah, man, I don't put too much into like a venue or a location. It's like I'm gonna show up and a cage is a cage. It's me and
yeah,
you in there, and I'm gonna fight you in there. And you know, fighting me is not fun. So regardless of the
yeah.
location. I'm excited to just throw down anywhere.
It's a fun place to be, the hall. I know you've probably been there plenty of times, obviously, with your teammates, anybody, there's probably been a bunch of fights for you there, but that's a cool place. I'm sure you're excited. I know anybody who fights there should be excited. It's probably one of the best venues in New England, being to all of them by now. It's a special place, man. Hope you soak it in. I talked with Tyson the other day, just briefly telling him that we were gonna have this interview, just quick talk. He said that you're on a new level mentally, quote unquote. Can you elaborate on this? Tom, I'm assuming that you've made some real progression mentally, and you're just in probably the best spot you've ever been by now, judging by his words.
Yeah. Like I said, man, just a lot of maturity and just finding my own way. You know, a lot of times I just kind of was like tagging along and following the guys I look up to, which is great. Like you got to do that. It gets you to a
Hmm.
certain point, but at some point you got to break into your own and find your own way. So, you know, I took that loss last November against a real tough dude and like felt great in that fight, was doing great. But I don't just like lose it and go say I lost and sit on it and then come back and fight again. It's like, no, that something needs to be done. I gotta adjust somehow. And a lot of it was up here and obviously some skill involved, which I've definitely sharpened. But yeah, man, just as corny as it sounds, just going and finding yourself, you know,
Yeah,
like I took some time off between that fight and May and now, but it's like I wasn't not doing any work. I was doing a lot of work physically, and then especially up here, you know, like working with professionals now on that part, and then
yeah,
just like confidence, man. Like I'm seeing just progression and skill at a really fast rate, and just my love for competing is like almost re sparked. You know,
yeah.
I'm excited. It's hard to put into words what it is, but I think it's just like self-belief and coming into my own a little bit like and maybe I thought I was there like a year ago. I thought I was like feeling that point, but it's like, oh no, it was just like I needed some more time to grow. And now
Yeah.
I'm growing and now I'm getting another big step up to grow with and man, I'm gonna grow and you're gonna
Yeah,
see
man.
it.
That's a good spot to be in headed into a fight like this. Right now, like I said earlier, 7 wins, 2 losses, five of those seven coming in by knockout. Do you see the striking being a huge key factor or a difference maker on January 25th?
Sure. I did another interview and I think like if someone's looking at this fight just as like a fan, they're gonna go, this is a striker versus grappler type of a
Fair
matchup. You know what I
enough.
mean?
Yeah.
you watch his fights, like his game plan is close distance, get his hands locked and take you down and
Yeah.
do his damage down there. You watch me fight, I knock people out.
Yeah.
Um, I can do both. I can do both. My one loss that I've been finished was a submission. I got caught that last fight in some weird like Hail Mary type armbar I think the kid threw up. But
Yeah.
we gotta remember I put the fight down there and I just had a little lapse in judgment and
Yeah.
got there. But no one's ever held me down. I fought some good wrestlers. You ask anyone in the gym,
You
like
got him in
I'm
the
a
gym too.
motherfucker to
Yeah.
hold down, man. And I'm tough to get down. So I too really believe in my skill set that I'm better everywhere. I
Yeah.
really do, man. I think everyone's gonna be surprised with like how I wrestle, how my jiu-jitsu looks in this fight, especially my MMA grappling. Like I'm not playing jiu-jitsu. Like there's a reason I get these finishes. And then obviously on the feet, like I said before, I'm a tough guy to try and stand there with it and go 25 minutes just on the feet with it. It sucks doing that with me. I'm long, I'm rangy.
That's
I
it.
look to hurt people, and that's what I do, man. It's a long night if you're standing with me for 25 minutes. So I think you're going to see just a full display of mixed martial arts in that cage on the 25th.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about your confidence in your grappling this fight, but I got my answer right there. You're prepared for anything. Of course, you have to be, man. At this point, taking these big high level fights, that's where you got to be now. But I got two more questions for you. Obviously, Don
Hit me.
Shainis is a established guy. He's fought in the UFC. He's fought for belts. He's done it all pretty much now. He's coming. He After he got out of the UFC, he faced even more adversity. Now he's kind of bounced back. He's got two in a row. He's looking good. Where do you see a win over Don Shainis putting you in terms of the New England division?
Mm. Yeah, man. I know everyone hates when I answer these questions like this, but I try not to dive too deep into like the importance of this fight or that fight. It's like my job is to go in there, compete, and just be dialed in on that. Anything after the 25th is non-existent to me. I gotta let it like people in my ears, oh, UFC this, UFC that. I don't give a fuck about that right now. I care about January 25th, going in there and beating this guy and performing to the best I can. So that's what I'm focused on. We'll see after the 25th what happens for me. But like results aside, like January, what is that? A Saturday, January 25th, January 27th, Monday. It's just back to doing what I'm doing. I'm in
That's
the
right.
gym, getting ready to compete again, and I'm not even looking past the 25th, man. Like even like life shit, I don't anything planned. I don't even plan anything for after the 25th. Like nothing. I'm just locked in on that, and I don't put any stock into who this guy is or what a win does. It's like,
Yeah,
nah, I'm coming to compete regardless. Like, I don't need that to hype me up to get me into a fight. Like, I
yeah.
just love competing and I'm just going to come compete.
That's a good answer, man. I like that answer a lot. You said everybody hates when you give those answers, but that's a good, there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's a good place to be. And last but not least, Tom, when you step into the hall for the very first time on January 25th, what can the fans expect from you? Obviously, it's going to be enemy territory, but what can these people expect you to do in enemy territory?
Yeah. The same thing I've done every other time I've fought in enemy territory, and that's win, man. I've never walked in enemy territory and not walked out with a win. So that's what I plan on January 25th. I think anyone who follows New England MMA knows I'm one of the more exciting guys on the scene. I've never had like a boring fight where people go, "Damn, like that fight sucked. I don't want to watch that again." Like every fight I'm in is action. Even the ones I've lost, it's been like tough, competitive fights, and I fucking bring it, man. So January 25th, same thing. I'm bringing it. I'm throwing down. I know he is too. But I just think I'm a step ahead, and we're gonna see that on the 25th.
Yeah, man. I can't wait. I feel like this is literally a perfect test for you at this point in your career. This is the perfect fight that you kind of need or I know you never want fights. You never
Mhm.
look for the fights, but this is the fight that makes a lot of sense. And I
I
can't wait to
agree.
see it. I encourage everybody to tune in. We got Don Shainis, Tom Pagliarulo. The title's on the line January 25th. Tom, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate you.